Mr. Cabello.
Mr. Chairman, I have an amendment at the desk.
The clerk, without objection to order, the clerk will designate the amendment.
Amendment number 2 offered by Mr. Curbelo.
Mr. Cabello is recognized to speak on the amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate the committee considering this important legislation, H.R. 1684, the Foreign Spill Protection Act of 2015. And I appreciate the discussion earlier from colleagues on both sides. Prior to the BP Deepwater Horizon disaster in 2010, the costliest oil spill in the history of the Gulf was the Ixtoc-1 spill off the coast of Mexico in 1979, which took 9 months to cap. Oil polluted the shores of southern Texas, and the Mexican-owned oil company agreed to pay out $100 million to avoid litigation in U.S. courts. Following the Exxon Valdez disaster in 1989, Congress passed the Oil Pollution Act of 1990, or OPA. The basic premise of OPA is that the party responsible for the spill is responsible for all the costs of cleaning up the mess. It is important to know that these offshore facilities, as defined by OPA, are limited only to the navigable waters of the United States, and foreign rigs cannot be designated as responsible parties. Therefore, if there were to be a repeat of Ixtoc-1, the most the responsible party would have to pay to clean up American waters and shores is $150 million. This issue is of particular concern to Gulf states. As Mr. Graves mentioned, Mexico, Cuba, and the Bahamas are actively looking at expanding their offshore drilling operations. Of particular concern is Mexico, which is looking into ultra-deep wells exceeding 6,000 feet in depth. In 2012, Mexico's top oil regulator said that they were not prepared to handle a serious accident or major oil spill. But it's not just the Gulf states that could be negatively affected by a spill. On the Canadian side of Lake Erie, offshore energy exploration is being conducted for natural gas. While Canadian law prohibits oil extraction from the Great Lakes, the risk of a spill persists. Again, under current law, the responsible party would only have to pay a maximum of $150 million for cleanup. In response to these concerns, my friend from Florida, Representative Patrick Murphy, and I introduced the legislation being considered today. The bill ensures the responsible party, regardless of origin, pays for all American cleanup costs by applying OPA. This will also apply Clean Water Act penalties on the responsible foreign party. I'm proud that this legislation has broad bipartisan support and has been endorsed by environmental, fishing, and other groups that depend on the water for their livelihoods. Our coastal communities need peace of mind that if they are affected by a foreign spill, resources are available to clean up their shores and help them recover. American taxpayers should not have to foot the bill to bail out foreign companies. I'd like to thank and commend the Coast Guard and the majority and minority staffs of the committee, especially John Rayfield and Dave Jansen, for their work on the substitute amendment that expands the protections in the bill. I'm prepared to work with them on further improving the language to assure 311J penalties are applicable. I also want to thank Chairman Schuster, Chairman Hunter, and Ranking Member DeFazio, and all of my colleagues who have worked with me on this bill. I respectfully urge amendment for this. I respectfully urge my colleagues to support this amendment.
Thank the gentleman. Do other